Today, I'm going to be discussing the failings of relativism and the basic ideas and premises behind it, which ultimately aims to devalue the human experience, devalue human action, and devalue human behavior, meaning that anything goes. And to discuss this, I think first I need to get into language. So for example, the word book. In the word book, we have sounds, so B-O-O-K, book. Those letters in the word book have sounds, and those sounds and those letters are representative of the actual object, which is this, a book. So this is a book, but those sounds aren't the same thing as this. This is an actual objective object. It's a thing that you can hold, you can experience, you can see, and you can interact with this thing. Words are abstract entities, they're not objective. However, it's been closely argued that these words and language and behavior are very connected, and so they're very correlated, and so therefore, because they have a correlation, they're causal of one another. This is a huge fallacy, obviously, right off the bat. Correlation doesn't prove cause, and so just because words and ideas are tied to behavior doesn't mean that they're interconnected. But we'll get into this as we go. So the fact that language is this abstract thing means that these people basically said that this language, the meanings of language are relative. So you could have this philosophy or that philosophy, or think this thing or that thing. Anything is fine, anything goes, and it doesn't matter. And therefore, because it's connected with human behavior is also therefore the same sort of thing, because it's interconnected with language and ideas, because the things you think have an effect on your action to some extent. We'll argue what that extent is as we go here. But specifically, these people are trying to say, many people who are philosophers, academians, and this sort of thing, want to say that this connection between ideas and behavior is absolute, ignoring that there's just a potential connection doesn't necessarily mean that one is causal of the other. So, anyway, basically what I've addressed is that language is this abstract entity that doesn't necessarily determine behavior. And so we'll look at some other ideas here. So let's look at ideas. And so an idea is something that's a little bit different from a language. Ideas might be constructed by language, they might be constructed by actual physical experience. However, an idea is still an abstract entity. And because it's as abstract as language per se, it's very easy to say that, well, ideas have this connection with language, and therefore ideas are also relative in connection with language. In the same manner that people try to say that, well, language is this abstract thing, and because language creates these ideas, and that connects with human behavior, the human behavior is relative just as these other things are. And again, like I said, I'm going to discuss that this is a little bit too far to go. And so, yeah, of course, these ideas are these abstract things. And nobody's saying that ideas don't have an effect on behavior, or that ideas can't cause behavior. But I think it's important to look at human behavior specifically. And so after discussing both language and ideas, I want to talk a little bit about human behavior. Now, it's my premise, or my hypotheses, if you will, that this human behavior is that people's ideas and language is based on past experience, past behavior, and future behavior. So something that somebody wants to do, or something that somebody wants to be like, or how somebody was, or what somebody did, or the experiences that somebody had. So in terms of the book, this is an objective object. In terms of the human being, the behavior and the things that you do, the word book and the actual book has the same dichotomy that ideas and language has in the human mind in terms of human behavior. So they're interconnected in that manner. And there's definitely some kind of a connection there. And so the actual behavior, the actions that humans partake in, are objective in a sense. There's nothing relative about them. And really what is proof about that objectivality is the actual result of behavior. So when you do an action, something happens. So if I punch you in the face, then something's going to happen as a result of that. If I don't punch you in the face, then then maybe nothing happens, or maybe something else happens. And so as a result of different sorts of behaviors, different things happen in connection with other things that are around you. And so these different behaviors have different results, and different causes have different results in terms of human interaction and interaction with the environment and things like this. So interaction within nature even, or universally. And so this is something that's very important to think about, because these actual behaviors that people partake in actually have these effects that are measurable scientifically, they're measurable and notable, and it's important to understand the value of them, and that we cannot just merely brush it off as something that's relative because it's connected with ideas and language, which are these relative abstract entities which we cannot do much with. You can't do much with something that's abstract. An idea is just an idea. It's a thought is just a thought. Language is just language. And of course I'm using language to explain stuff, but I'm talking about objective examples in terms of like showing you a book, or showing you or discussing human behavior and giving you examples. Oh, I'm punching somebody in the face. So it's a little bit of a different thing than just saying all language is insignificant or meaningless. It's a representation of things of the physical world. Those things of the physical world are real, and those things of the physical world are objective, and you can interact with them. And the value is that interaction and that behavior. This is just a bunch of paper and ink and nonsense. This is not necessarily a significant object, but when it comes to human beings, we have this thing called human behavior, and because we have this behavior and we can interact with things, there's a little bit more pattern, so there's a lot more patterns related to human behavior and the human entity, and also there's measurable things that we can do. So we can measure, if I work out in this way, I get these results. If I work out in that way, I get those results, or that kind of a thing. And so you cannot say the human behavior is fundamentally relative, because there's measurable results to different sorts of behavior. And this kind of constructs a sort of sense of actual morality, so like a sort of natural morality, if you will. So if you do a specific sort of behavior, you might have negative results. Negative things might happen to you. And so that should be a sign that those aren't behaviors that you should partake in. Whereas if you do things that are good for you, or you do specific behaviors, you might find that the results are nice, or you enjoy them. There's good aspects to it. It doesn't make you feel bad. So you might choose those behaviors over these other behaviors which have these sort of undesirable results. And so I think this is all something that we should be thinking about, and really value human experience and human behavior, and try to choose human behaviors and put ourselves into experiential situations that represent the sort of reality that we'd like ourselves to exist in, and not just think, oh, it doesn't matter, or it's all relative. And so I hope this has been an enlightening video for you, and I hope that I can talk with you guys in the comments below. Thank you, and don't forget to like and all that stuff, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.